شدیم دیگه. اینجا کسته کمپانی های مختلف چیزهایی را که در دسترس داره برای ویدیوگرافرها اینجا در نمایشش ده. یعنی یک یوتوبر است خود آدوانز اوت برای از این سعی که چقدر مرچندایز مردم سودانه امور لباس های شیخ چیزای برند کمپانی شده نه دست سودانه بوری یعنی دیگه خود یوتیوب است دیگه. دوستای عزیز در این حالم دیم که اینجا درباره یوتوب الگوریتم یاد میده که چی رقم الگوریتم یوتوب را ما هیت کنیم که ویدیوهای از ما ریکمند شونه برای دیگه دوستا، برای کسایی که ویدیو سایر میکنن. مثلا اگر متوجه شده باشین وقتی ویدیو یک نفر سایر میکنن در بغل چی ویدیوهای دیگه هست که مثلا از کریئتورهای دیگه هست در اونجا مثلا چیز کار کنیم که ویدیوهای ما در اونجا برای بیننده ریکمند شونه. یکی از کلانترین راهی که بتن آدم کانال پر پیش بره نیست که از طریق ریکمندیشن یوتیوب ویدیوهایش ریکمند شده تا مردم ها او را ببینن. در غیر از اون چی در فیسبوک در هر جای دیگه هر چی ادورد کنی هر چی تبلیغات کنی بازم به اندازه ریکمندیشن یوتیوب نمیشه. پس این فوق العاده مهم است.
And for those that weren't born yet, that's when YouTube actually started. I have an agency that we focus exclusively on audience development, and I've worked with some of the top businesses and brands in the world. I love YouTube, I love online video, and it shows a little bit. This is some of my clients, some brands, and also creators. For those that don't know, that's Mr. Beast. I love working with him. He's the smartest creator I've ever been able to work with. I love video. Like I said, we were able to generate over 49 billion video views from plans that we've executed on. We have 22 gold play buttons, and the interesting about the gold play buttons there, these are concepts that we decided, hey, let's start a YouTube channel. Here's the strategy that we're gonna do. Here's the audience that we're gonna do. And we actually implemented that, and we were able to get 21 gold play buttons. And I'm really interested right now on Facebook. There's a lot of interesting stuff. I think there's a lot of opportunity for you as creators as well. We've done 26 billion video views. To jump into it, this is kind of my office. I have just gold play buttons laying all over the floor, but I enjoy it. Now, my question to you today, at VidCon, who would like more visibility for their YouTube channel? Who doesn't want it, right? Hey, come on, you're not supposed to do that. Okay, who wants more views for your YouTube channel? Okay, so what we're gonna do is cover this, and there's a lot of misconceptions. Now, this right here, people will do about anything to get the view. Anything to get the view. This poor guy right now is wanting to get a little publicity. He's jumping into cactus. And I don't know, have you ever had that happen to you before? Like you stepped in, not to jump in cactus, but to actually step on a cactus or you get one of those little finger pricks? Well, this is what he's gonna do here. Oh, man. Okay, the crazy thing about it, okay, that video's done, he didn't get a whole bunch of views, but for him to follow up, what does he need to do? Skydive into cactus next? All right. But this is probably my favorite YouTube video because there's a lot of people who are very passionate. So this individual's from Germany. He has a band. He wanted the world to know about his band, and he's going to go jump into a very cold pool that's filled with ice. Ready? Cold. Sue's cute. That's by far. I don't know why it's so fun to see pain. But anyway, stop thinking that way, okay? And my goal for you is if you want more visibility, you want more views, you want to be able to have more YouTube success, you need to stop. You need to stop looking for the hack. Like, I guarantee you've heard people, oh, this is the magic hack, or this is the magic pill, that all you need to do is this, and you need to stop thinking that way. What you need to do is stop thinking about things that don't really matter. What I want to share with you is things that do matter. And I ultimately want you to stop blaming the algorithm because it isn't the algorithm's fault. And the algorithm, I'm going to explain, I'm going to prove to you today that it can be your ally to really get massive growth and really get your videos out there to the world. Because I ultimately want you to stop optimizing for search engines. At the end of the day, stop optimizing for search engines, and what you need to do is start optimizing for humans. This right here, once it clicks for you, this is where it's going to change. This is where you're going to have a lot more success. Because when you start optimizing for humans, then humans will share it organically. And that's what triggers the algorithm. So ultimately, our goal, our mission, our vision, our purpose is to optimize for humans. And when we can optimize for the viewer and understand what makes the viewer tick, then that's going to give us a lot more information to know how to create content that will be engaging, and it's going to be shared naturally, and also it's going to trigger the algorithm to do its job. So let's go ahead and break this down. Let me explain. And I want to take some time, and I hope that that you're really going to grasp the concepts here. This is really, really important. I try to simplify everything, but let me explain. YouTube's goal. You probably heard this before. And at the end of the day, YouTube's all about making money, right? Well, the AI actually has a goal. The goal is to predict what the viewer will want to watch. The reason why it's trying to predict what the viewer want to watch, because if they watch more, they make more money. Everybody say money. Money. So that's the goal of YouTube. So if they can do a great job getting viewers to give them what they want, they'll come back day after day, watching their favorite videos, and they're going to be discovering new content. Next is they're looking to, and this is the goal, to maximize long-term viewer engagement and satisfaction. So as people are coming on and consuming the content, they're going to try to engage the long term. So that means they're staying on longer and longer and longer on the platform. And that goes back hand in hand there. And there's some other things is, you know, how many videos do they watch when they come on and start a session on YouTube? What does that actually look like? In my last session that I did, I went and really defined what this was. I don't want to give a lot of credence to this. I don't want to go too technical on it, but it's very simple. When you watch a video on YouTube, you send signals, oops, you send, we'll get to that in a second. But you send signals to the algorithm, and the algorithm basically decides what to serve you next. And it's based off of the satisfaction signals, okay? So whether you like it, you watch the whole thing, you rewind it a little bit, you're engaging with it, you're commenting, you're watching multiple videos from the same creator, it sends these viewer feedback, and it's giving the algorithm what it wants. Now what I want to do is kind of break this down a little bit more simple, and it comes from this meme. Who's seen this meme before? All right. This is better than, we did it the audience, we did it for the industry track, like who's seen this meme, and only like 5 people. But anyway, let's kind of define who the characters are here. This is the YouTube algorithm right here, okay? So we got the YouTube video, okay? We got the bot, which is the algorithm, right? And who's that guy right there? He's the viewer, right? And you know, that video looks really, really appealing to the viewer. But what happens is the algorithm is super sensitive to the viewer and what gets the viewer to react, right? So what happens? Looking very closely, what's going on? Why is he turning his head like that? A little bit closer. And it is this algorithm is very passionate to see exactly every little thing that you're actually doing on YouTube. Why? It needs to learn and course correct. So coming back to this, when you've got to learn to course correct, is basically providing content that you'll want to watch. Is this clear? Is that good? Okay, so we'll go back to this. And I'm really fascinated by this. Back in 2013 is where I had my aha moment. My aha moment was, oh my goodness, all we got to do is figure out who the viewer is, optimize for the viewer, and guess what happens magically? The algorithm will find the viewer for us. The algorithm will do all the heavy lifting. I don't even have to do any of that. So what do we need to do? We need to understand who the viewer is and optimize for the viewer. I can honestly say that I've been doing consulting for a very long time, and the biggest issue that I find is the people that are creating content have no idea who they're creating the content for. They think they do, but the data doesn't match. The data doesn't lie. It's completely the opposite. I want to give you a scenario. I was working with these creators. They had about 1.5 million subscribers. They're like, hey, you know, our audience is, 13 to 18 years old. They're really passionate. They're female, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like looking at their data. I'm like, are you sure? And they're like, no, yeah, this is the way that it is. And they were doing a go out and meet you tour. It was like meet and greets all over the world. And I says, I would love to come to some of these and let's do an assessment after you do it. So I went to the first two. There was no 13 to 18-year-olds. They were all 5 and 8-year-old girls. The whole thing, it was like crazy. And I go, okay, now you understand who your viewer is. Now we can start making content better for them. We can optimize for that viewer. And the great thing about it is when you optimize for that viewer, the algorithm will actually follow that viewer, and it's going to be so engaging. And once you're able to get this, it really will help you level up your content. So coming back down to it is understanding the first trigger. The first trigger is really, really important. And I can tell you a lot of you need to improve on this, which it starts with the click. The click is the most important part, because if they don't click on your content, and your content being your title, your thumbnail, your video, if they do not click on that, they're never going to see your video. Average view ratio never starts. The average percent viewed never starts. That engagement's just not happening. And so I'm going to give you an example with Mr. Beast. I think he, like I said, he's one of the most talented creators I've ever worked with. He will spend hours, if not days, getting the right title and thumbnail. It doesn't matter if people come with the most amazing idea. This is his actual, he says this over and over again. Well, like, what's the title? What's the thumbnail? I don't get it. Like, if I can't imagine the title and thumbnail, I'm not doing the video. And so hours upon hours go from that. So let's kind of break it down. Here is how he does it. So here's a thumbnail that he's created. And he wants to understand, this is like going through the drive-thru 1,000 times, right? And he realizes he needs to optimize it. So they're spending quite a few hours doing Photoshop to get the right look, to have it still look real, but also to improve. So this is kind of some of the things that he did. He realized, okay, I wanted to have some organized clutter. That's one of the things that he loves. So he has all these bags that are there. It sends the message. He has some emotion. That emotion is, oh, I'm really tired. Okay, so what we need to do is, because the vehicle is there, we need to change that. So let's go ahead and crop that out, right? Let's cut that out, mask that out. And let's go ahead and move that up a little bit so we can have more of the view. And then ultimately, we can come in there. Now, the reason why he wanted to add 801, because it's going through the drive-thru 1,000 times, and it makes it a little bit easier for them to do it. But now look at the other emotion of the lady that is serving him the food. So you have two types of emotions going on. Would you actually click on this video? Okay? My thing is this. You've got to look at all the different ways for you to improve your content. First off, it needs to reinforce, that title and thumbnail needs to be reinforced and visually explain what's going on. Do you think this visually explains, for this title, do you think it visually explains the thumbnail? Say yes. It does. it literally visually explains what's going on here. And for me, there's so many people that feel like they need to force text into content. And what I mean content is into your title, which you need to force text there, but not your thumbnail. Your thumbnail, like, I rarely ever would recommend anyone putting text in their thumbnail. You try to do it visually first, and if you can't do that, then you can amplify it. So the way that we amplify this one is showing that he's not quite at 1,000. Is he going to get to 1,000? I don't know. He's very exhausted. He's eating a lot of food, you know, so on and so forth. How's this going to happen? Okay, so a key to that is showing emotion. And I understand that this can be overused, overdone, and over-exaggerated, but you gotta show emotion and what it's gonna portray in the video. You can see here there's a couple different emotions here. Next, your title should be 50 characters or less. There's a lot of people that will disagree on me for this, but if we're optimizing for search engines, go ahead and use all the characters that you want. If you're optimizing for humans, humans need to be able to read it. Humans need to be able to say, oh, I'm very, very interested in this. I want to be able to click on that. So for that, there's no truncation of the title. They can actually see it. It's going to be on 2 lines on mobile, and you're going to see that ultimately it's going to pull people in because they're going to go, oh, I'm interested in that. Don't put your main keywords at the end either. It's like, get it so that it's actually optimized for humans, and they're like, oh, this is very interesting. I'm very curious what's going on here. Okay? Who does titles longer than 50 characters? Let's see your hands. Come on. Okay. I can tell you it is so difficult to do it under 50 characters. It takes discipline to get it the right way. And you're probably thinking, well, if I don't do this, it's not going to show up for this keyword. Or it's not going to have this keyword that we need, you know, to link everything together. I'm telling you, if you optimize for the human, the algorithm knows how to suggest your content. And there's so many different things. Next is what you've got to do is deliver on the promise of the title and the thumbnail. Now, this is a big mistake that most content creators make, is they don't deliver on it immediately. They actually might do it at minute marker 6 minutes, 32 seconds into it. Is that delivering on the title and thumbnail? Most of you would say yes. For me, I would say it's actually wrong because you only have a small window of person's interest to get them to engage with your video. They've already clicked, they're interested. You sold them a bill of goods, which was, hey, click on my video, this is what it's about. And if that first, a few seconds, I say about 30 seconds, if that's not really reinforcing that title and thumbnail, then you will lose the viewer. And let's just say that you only lose 10% of the viewers because you might have an engaged audience. But what happens is that 10% drops off and you have less and less people. It doesn't matter how amazing the video is because you have that slow burn that's happening. If you would bring it up where you don't lose that 10, even 5 to 10%, you would actually get higher average view percentage and average view duration. That is a key, that is a secret that all of you need to focus in on. And I can tell you, once you start putting out video content consistently and starting to analyze the data and realize, oh, why are they dropping off here? Why does it look like a hockey stick? Well, maybe you're not reinforcing the title, and what was promised in the title and thumbnail was too good to be true, and people are viewing that as clickbait instead of click food. Okay? So it's really, really important that you deliver the promise of the title and thumbnail. Next, it is so important that all of you bring value to your viewer. Value, the value proposition in all things is so important, especially on YouTube. There's so many people that are trying to get the eyeballs, get the viewer on their videos, and they're ultimately trying to figure out what's going to work. And when people bring value in videos, that's where you're able to succeed. So how do you bring value? Well, value is in the content. Okay, what is content? Your title, your thumbnail, your video. That is content. So how do you bring value in it? Well, to bring valuable content and really to have it go to the level you need to inspire you need to educate, you need to entertain. Now, you can do one of these verticals, or you might be able to do a little bit of three, okay? But that will provide valuable content. You show me a creator that is so huge that you're not entertained by, or you're not inspired by, or they're not educated with. And ultimately, the value comes back down to these things. That's human behavior of what they want to watch. So let's kind of break this down a little bit, because I think it's really, really important. So how do we create valuable content? This right here is an exercise I do with my students. They'll see this and they know this, but it's the most important thing that you can look at, is really understanding what your brand stands for, what it's about. And I'm going to pick on someone that's here. He doesn't know this, but this is good that he's here. You need to understand what your channel's about, okay? Your channel, it needs to resonate you as a creator, what you're passionate about, and then what your audience cares for. So this little circle here is when the audience really cares about something and what the brand stands for. That little crossover is amazing. That's where you're going to see valuable content, right there. That's where valuable content will be. That's where it lives. And you will actually have a lot of fans that will engage with your content and become passionate about it because they care about those issues and you're providing that value to them. And that value proposition is satisfying them as a human of getting some things that they want and some things that they don't even know that they need. So let's go ahead and discuss how you scale this. This right here is a strategy that everyone needs to look at. And it's something that I found that brings the value even deeper into human emotions. And it's adding another component to this, which is pop culture. Popular culture is key. When you can have people relate to other things besides what your audience cares about and what's there, and you're getting another factor, that's where you can scale it. And the scalable content is key. I can tell you, oh, looks like we have a font issue, but I can tell you that right there is the key to get a lot more impressions to a general audience, and it can go from there. So let's go ahead and break this down. So we actually have a very, very big YouTuber here. Devin, you're taking a picture. You want to stand up? Here's Legal Eagle. Go subscribe to him if you like law stuff, but you can sit down, Devin. I'll just pick on you up here, because that way you're helpless. But Devin's an attorney, and he wanted to help individuals learn the law and prepare for law school. He actually, on the back end of it too, he was selling products and different things that law students would need. Now, here's the thing. Devin, how many law students are in the United States going to school at one time?
About 100,000.
100,000 people. How many videos do you think you can actually get if there's only 100,000 people going to law school? And I would say maybe a couple 100,000 are preparing for law school?
Yeah, about that.
Okay, so how many videos, how many views can you actually get for that? It's very, very narrow, right? So Devin and I had a conversation on how can it be more interesting and what it can look like. He's super smart and he gets it, and he was able to see an opportunity here based on other programming that was happening on YouTube. So what did he do? He found a way to integrate pop culture into his content. What did that look like? Well, it looked like this. Real Boy reacts to fill in the blank. This is by far my favorite one. I do like the Chewbacca defense. It was really, really funny. But that's the whole thing, is teaching law to people that are interested in the law. Not teaching it to prospective law students, but it's more people that are interested in that. And what's interesting is if you look really closely up there, what's the next one? Real Lawyer reacts to The Simpsons, and then Broken Laws. He's starting to do a lot of different things. His new series that he has started is like my favorite, and it's really true crimes. If you're interested in true crimes or law, definitely check out Legal Eagle. Definitely one of my favorite YouTubers. As you can see, his top videos to date, are really bringing in that pop culture and teaching people the law and how the law is either being broken or, he's reinforcing some points and getting to grow. And so much so that he's not doing law so much, and he's doing YouTube videos. which he's passionate about. All right, so let me tell you about Christina real quick. So Christina's a real estate agent, and she sells homes. And for me, it's like really understanding how do you bring valuable content in real estate. It's really hard. She lives in a smaller state comparatively in the United States, Louisiana. And you know, has a really, really amazing personality, really magnetic, and she does a great job at real estate. So when she came, we had a discussion, and this is the same discussion I had with all my students, all my clients, like what is valuable content? You know, what does your channel stand for? What does your audience truly do care about? How can we actually resonate that? Well, for me, and this is just me because I'm not her advertiser or reviewer, I think real estate's the most boring content on the internet. And so how do we actually bring in value? There's another thing that we can do, and it would be getting trends and pop culture together. That's what's able to be, to go out to more of a general audience. So in looking at her content, I'm like, okay, what can we do? What can we do specifically to get you more views, more visibility? We need to look at trends. So she had a video on modular homes. She used the word modular homes. And I said, you know, there's a trend right now that people are downsizing into tiny homes. Have you thought about maybe making more content in tiny homes? And she goes, yeah, I mean, I thought about it. I don't know if that's something I want to do. I says, well, let's explore it. Let's look at certain things that you can do to go from there, because it is trending up. There's a lot of interest and there's a lot of opportunity. It has everything to do with real estate, and it might not be what you're doing here, what can happen. And so she decided to make a video. This is one of the videos that she's made. But she's just put the tiny manufactured homes you can buy on Amazon for under $40,000. And what's happened is when you actually find something that works, whether it's any video that you get it to pop, how do you actually get it to a strategy to release content after content after content the same way without beating the subject so much? So, and how often do you do that? So she had success. It was her highest performing video. You can see that the first one is in October. You see that first little arrow there. And that was her first one. And it started to bring a whole bunch of traffic. And this is the biggest mistake. Someone actually posted this in Facebook today or yesterday or whatever. But they're like, hey, why is it that some videos get a whole bunch of views and you release a whole bunch of videos on the same subject that they don't actually get more views on the third or fourth video? But what you're doing is you're sacrificing, when you upload similar content, you're sacrificing the opportunity for that video to really perform. You need to be able to have it perform and breathe and do what it needs to do, and it needs a cycle. And what I found is if you can do it, it depends on how many videos that you release, but if you can do it within about 4 or 5 videos, you know, down the road, it gives it enough time to go through the cycle to have YouTube figure out what it is, instead of trying to compete with itself. Because when you release another video on the homepage or browse feature, then there's 2 of your videos that people have to choose from, and one of them are going to lose, and so ultimately that video is going to lose. So you got to give some time. So her second video she released, it was a really, really high performer. It started to suggest, but what happened next was her channel was 100% a resource channel, and it was I would say it was like 95% search. She had about 5% external traffic. And what we wanted to do is have it recommend other content. And ultimately, as she released other videos, it would recommend all the videos that were similar to that, and was able to lift her channel. So she went from about 800 subscribers, and she's at 16,000 subscribers just in a couple months. And it's all about finding what's working and really understanding what she's passionate about and what's trending, or some pop culture to throw in there, and you can go from there. Now, you'll see me talking a lot about traffic sources. I'm the most sensitive to traffic sources than any other thing, because every viewing pattern and behavior comes through traffic. And the biggest mistakes that you'll make is when you assume all your traffic is the same, and all the viewers coming from that traffic is the same. So what we gotta do is really start narrowing it down and understand that all the views that happen today on YouTube, 75% of them is when YouTube recommends to the viewer. 75% of all views. So do you want just a small percentage, coming from external, small percentage coming from search, or do you want YouTube to recommend your content for everyone? So realizing that, then you need to shift. Well, what are those traffic sources? Well, those traffic sources are browse feature. Browse feature means homepage. It means subscription feed. That is browse feature. Suggested video means the videos that are underneath the video if you're on mobile or on the right-hand side, if you're on desktop. That's suggested videos. That is YouTube recommending content for people to consume. What I want you to do, and if you want more success, you've got to treat each traffic source different. You've got to understand what the purpose is, what the life is of that traffic, who's engaging with it in that way, and be able to create content that would amplify it. Let me give you a couple of breakdowns right here. So you can see these traffic sources. So you have suggested browse, channel, YouTube search, notifications, so on and so forth. What all I care about is the ones that we have the most data on, which is channel pages, suggested videos, browse features, and playlists. And notifications is fine, there's a way that I go from it. But I want to show you, I want to prove to you that you need to really look at your traffic differently. So here's the video, the one we showed the thumbnail for, okay, going through the drive-through 1,000 times. If you look really closely, what is the click-through rate for this video? 6.1%. Who thinks that's good? Raise your hand. A few people. It's pretty good. Pretty good. This is a lie. It really is. When you're looking at this, I love the video performance funnel, and if anyone from YouTube here is not dissing on that, but it's very deceptive of what that is. That's not really 6.1%. That's collectively all the YouTube recommendation is 6.1%. What we need to do is look and examine that 6.1% a little bit deeper to truly know what it is. What it is this, 15.4%. Who thinks 15.4% is better than 6.1%? Of course it is. And where's that traffic coming from? It's coming from homepage, not subscription. Subscription is only 10.5%. So his subscribers there's a less of a click on that than the other. Now trending is 6.4%, but it all just kind of averages out to the 6.1%. So for me, it goes down, there's some date stuff that it will change and modify, but as you're able to see it, then you can truly understand where your baseline is. And so what I want you to do is start looking at traffic sources and understanding what's your average click-through rate, what's a good thumbnail for the impressions for that traffic source, and what is a bad thumbnail and title for that traffic sources, and figure out where that baseline is. Once you understand that baseline, what happens if you bring it up 2% or 3%? That's when you get a ton more impressions and it starts to take off. And that is key. Next, let's kind of break this down here. And I want to explain to you about impressions and click-through. Everyone needs to understand this. I get this a lot. Hey, is my click-through rate good? And the impressions are like 5 impressions. They have like 30% click-through rate. They're thinking they're amazing. And the whole thing about it is, the higher the impressions are, the lower your click-through rate is going to be. The higher that your impressions are, the lower your click-through rate is going to be. Why? Because YouTube realizes that it needs to go out to a more general audience. And that general audience is less likely to click. But the algorithm knows that, and they're not going to penalize you because it's going out to more people. They just have some thresholds, is what they call hit rates. And so that's what you need to look at very specifically if you want to really succeed, is it all starts with a click. And it all understands where that click's coming from. Let's talk about, I'm gonna come back here for 1 second. I have one of my students here, Anna. You wanna just raise your hand? There's Anna. Anna's crushing it on YouTube right now. In the last year, how many subscribers did you get? 400? 450,000? What's really amazing from it is we were having a discussion last night. I hope you don't care that I say this. She's starting to blush. She's like, oh, YouTube hates me now. I'm like, no, that's not what it is. There's seasonality of things, and really it comes back down to understanding behaviors. And there's things that happen naturally and organically in the search engine, and also the platform and people's interests. And you can see some commonalities between that. Now, the most important thing that I want to say is every traffic source, let's just say that you have, and this was her case, she had a viral video. How many views does it have on it? 4 million. 4 million. So she was getting 4 million views in a short amount of time, I think since August or something like that. And what happened was when that when that video was being showed on browse feature, which is homepage and subscription feed, she was getting a ton of traffic. But what was happening next was they were watching that video and then watching another video. So it was bringing more traffic into her site. And what happens is when you hit a threshold where YouTube can't recommend it out more and there's not as many people, it has to wait a little while, and you'll see it dip, and then it starts to go back up, and then you dip, it goes back up. So there's some trends that happen there. So keep in mind that just because a video dies doesn't mean it's gone forever. It might be a trend, and you need to look at it with that data. Let's talk about viewer retention. Viewer retention, if you can get that click, then you can start to retain your audience. There's a couple tools that you can use in the Creator Studio. I love it. As you can see the audience retention. My thing is this, and this is a discussion that I'm super sensitive with, is the first 30 seconds. Can you reinforce that title and thumbnail, and is there enough curiosity to keep them? Because if you can bring that up 4%, the slow burn effect will actually bring it up higher of you losing less people at the end of the video. That gives you a higher average view, a percent viewed, and also a better average view duration. So those 30 seconds is so key. I was having a friend discussion with a creator yesterday, and we were just talking about, hey, this might be disconnected on some new content that's coming out. What are some ideas that you can do to really bring that up? Because it's so important, if you actually have a good, what I call the slow burn, if you can just bring it up where less people are jumping off, then you're actually going to have a higher probability that it's going to really, really take off. Is that making sense? So title, thumbnail are really important, and getting that average view percentage is really important. But this is the one I want you to always toggle to, and I want to tell you why. YouTube is looking at all your competition for the length of the video, the topic of the video, and when you're doing relative audience retention, this is key to understand that this is a relative score that you're getting. Are you above average, you below average? I've found that if you're in that first about 3 to 4 minutes, if you're above average, that video is going to pop, and it will stay very consistent. It doesn't matter what it looks like. It doesn't matter if you have kind of a little hockey stick. If you're way above average there, that video is going to just get going. However, you have to retain at least an average. If you go below average, then you might be in danger of not getting that out to more and more people. Okay, so viewer retention, really break it down like this. You really need to load all your engagement on the first third of the video. The more that you can engage that first third, you'll keep them to the end. Edit with the viewer in mind. Make sure that you understand who the viewer is, what they're going to be engaging with. You got to stick to that story. You need to cut out all unnecessary footage. I don't care if you love it and if you think it's amazing. Unnecessary footage needs to go. And the more that you can do that, that's the audience is really engaging. And then please add VFX and sound effects to your content and music. It makes it more engaging. The sound effects is, it can be so subtle that you don't know that it's actually there, but it amplifies the sound. There's some things that happen. We do studies all the time with viewers to see how they engage with content, and I'm very curious at how people react. And I can tell you, most people, when there's not really good sound design, they're like, oh, this is okay. This is an okay video. But when you actually add sound design, they think it's amazing. And it's the same content, all you're doing is enhancing it with sound effects. Takeaways, I only have a few minutes, and I want to just kind of go over just a minute or two. a minute or two on some takeaways, and I really am passionate about this. I get so many people coming up to me and asking, hey Daryl, I really want to succeed, what do I need to do, how do I actually get this to go? I always ask them what they're passionate about creating. Passion is what will lift your audience. It comes out in you. I mean, you can tell that I'm passionate about online video. Like I'm waking up at odd hours of the time in different places of the world speaking about online video because I love it. I'm passionate about it. I'm passionate about helping people. That's my purpose of it. Now for you, for your channel, figure out what you're passionate about and understand who's the viewer. And I can tell you that when you understand and properly identify the viewer, you'll make better decisions. And as the data comes in, you'll understand the viewer even better. And when you're looking at that data, you're being very willing to analyze and adjust and tweak to make better content. That's the true success. It's not an easy process. There's no magic pill. There's no hack. What you've got to do is look at why would a human want to watch it outside of my mall? And then ultimately perform on that. See what resonates. This is a very difficult skill to get. But once it clicks, that's when you see massive YouTube growth. I don't care who you are. I don't care how boring you are. If you understand the viewer and you know how to provide value to them, right from the click to the average view duration, then they're going to actually grow. So the fastest channel we've been able to grow, we had a concept, we had an idea. The idea was, could we create a channel and get 1 million subscribers in less than 30 days? Well, who's going to be the viewer? What's going to be the content? The content was basically, and this is pretty interesting, it was basically conversations that people were having online, and we were just reading those conversations. In 28 days, it's 1.1 million subscribers, fresh, because we understood the audience, we understood the content and how it resonates with the audience, and naturally it was organically being shared with the world, and that triggered the algorithm to massively grow. And today, there's 10 different channels that do similar things that this individual owns. All of them have 1 million subscribers each. I only helped with the first one, and it kind of went out, other things. There's a lot of opportunity. But we're talking millions of dollars here, and new people that are employed, and families that are really being blessed by that. So I can honestly say, if you'll spend a little bit more time identifying your content, who the viewer is, and really keeping the viewer in mind, and realize that that you might need to cut something out. I'm going to just close on this last thought. So I have a lot of YouTubers moving close to my house for some reason. I don't know what it is. I really do. One of my great friends is Daniel Markham with What's Inside. And he's like, he moved down, he's like, Daryl, can I use your studio? Could your sons come help me film What's Inside video? I'm like, sure, we can do that, no problem. And we had the whole setup and everything was there, and he was loving it. And then he gets to the end of the video, and he ends it. And I'm like, okay, that's great, and he goes, this video is gonna bomb. I'm like, why is it gonna bomb, Dan? He goes, well, my audience is not gonna like it. And I'm like, well, can we reshoot anything? He says, I just cut open a Rolex. Where are we gonna get another Rolex to cut open and see what's inside a Rolex? And so we had that conversation. And when the video was released, guess what? Did that video just take off? It didn't, it bombed. And I can tell you, when you understand how your content resonates with your audience, and you're creating content for your audience, you're passionate about this content, and it comes out, and you're really being sensitive to what you're creating, that's when you'll have YouTube success. Thank you, everyone. I'll be ready to answer your questions if you want to ask me a question too.